My name is Larice Harvey, and you are watching AccessTV.org.
Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org. Hello, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and welcome to Civic Beat. I have some goodies for you on today's show. There's a couple of things happening around the city of Hartford that I want to make you aware of. So we're going to dive into a couple of those topics. Update on the CDBG process, and also we're going to get into a little bit about the Democratic Town Committee elections. So let's get started. First up, this is a busy week. Okay, so I brought to you a couple of people from Central Grants Management from the city of Hartford to discuss the community development block grant opportunity that is quickly approaching. In fact, the deadline is Thursday, this Thursday, February 27th. 3 p.m. You have to have your application into the grants management office to apply for these funds. If you want to know more about what CDBG grant is all about, check out the last two shows, and actually some pretty good information we brought to you about how to apply, and then also how much money is at stake. You know, how much money are we talking about? How can it benefit your organization? And you know, all the things you need to know, including phone numbers and names of people you need to call. The interesting thing about the CDBG is that it runs in 3 and 5 year cycles, I believe. And so when the CDBG grant is administered, there's a goal for it over a period of 3 years. So the time to look at, you know, how can it impact the city of Hartford for the next 3 or 5 years is approaching. So there's some other dates that I'm going to bring you later in this month, because there's an opportunity for you to give your feedback into what should these funds be targeted towards over the next 3 to 5 years. So if you think blight, for instance, is a particular problem in the city, and you would like to see the city of Hartford direct their efforts towards fixing blight, you know, come out to these meetings and put your voice on the record. And that's the wonderful thing about being in a small town like Hartford, is that, you know, just by showing up, a lot of times you can impact legislation, you can impact how things get done. It really is just a matter of showing up at a meeting, because these meetings very often go unattended. And if that's the case, the people making the decisions, be it department heads, be it your city council members, they are left to their own devices to make those decisions. And so, again, you can participate just by showing up. So, but for now, Thursday is your deadline to get that application in to apply for this next round of money that's going to be handed out. So the city of Hartford has, in partnership with some community organizations, are going to have 2 interesting workshops this week as well. One of them happening Wednesday is all about zoning. It's actually called Zoning 101. And I'm bringing that to your attention, and I'll spend a little bit more time in some upcoming episodes talking about zoning. But the interesting thing about zoning is that it really impacts you in how the land that you live in is used. So for instance, if you live on a particular block and there are several churches or several liquor stores, or maybe there's not really a lot of housing, but more industrial factories and things like that in your neighborhood. That is a land use policy, and that is all tied into and affected by zoning, the zoning laws that are applied to your neighborhood. But they go a little bit beyond that as well. If you want to, say you're a homeowner and you want to put an addition onto your house, you want to add a floor up above or a room on back, the zoning board could deny you that right to be able to do that. So the zoning board has lots of power in this city. And, again, it's one of those boards that no one really talks about, but they have so much influence in them, and it's just a matter of you participating and showing up if you want to be a part of that board as well. So Wednesday, 6 p.m. at the Hartford Public Library, there will be Zoning 101, and trust me, they'll dive into in greater detail than me exactly what the zoning board does, what appeals process looks like, and all of those nuts and bolts about zoning in the city of Hartford and how it's impacting you in your life and in ways that you are just not even aware of. So this Wednesday, February 26, 6 p.m. at the Hartford Public Library, Zoning 101. You definitely want to go and check that out. So those are two events coming up. And the biggest event, when we take this short break, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Democratic Town Committee elections. And also there's one other workshop that's happening here in the city. And, people have their opinions about this other workshop too, but we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to get into part 2 of another workshop being held this week, and then also a little bit about the Democratic Town Committee elections. You're watching Civic Beat. I'm Nyesha McCauley. I welcome your questions, comments, and feedback, and stay with me through this break. We'll be right back.
Black History Month. We pause to acknowledge and appreciate contributions enriching our cultural and intellectual fabric. Keep it coming.
We are the members of the Saturday Boston Dance Theater, and we celebrate Black history 365 days of the year.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all: the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.
And welcome back to Civic Beat. I think you're going to be interested in this next topic here. The city of Hartford is always looking for your feedback and ideas and opinions. And particularly, they solicit opinions around budget time. And that's where we are right here in the city. As the mayor prepares the city's budget, the city runs on a July to July or June to July type of fiscal budget for every year. And so again, in an upcoming show, we're going to talk a little bit more about how the city money gets spent. But this week, you're going to have an opportunity to give the city your feedback about how you think this budget should roll out. So the mayor, along with Hartford 2000, a community organization here in the city, actually it's a group, it's a collective group, Hartford 2000 of the NRZs in the city of Hartford. But they are putting on a 2-part workshop, People's Budget Workshop. And the first session kicks off this Thursday at the Hartford Public Library as well. And that's at 5:30, refreshments, and 6 o'clock the program begins. So what happens in a People's Budget Workshop? They're going to go over the budget and talk about the different departments that need funding. So your Public Works Department, your Children and Family Youth Services, your recreation centers, all your city departments, and we'll spend a little time in an upcoming show talking about exactly how many departments there are in the city and what their purpose is, basically. So this workshop gives you a layout of how money is spent, and then you can give your input as to how you think the mayor should propose his budget to the city council. It is the city council that approves the budget. The mayor prepares it along with his department heads, and then that is submitted to city council for their approval. They can vote up or down on different expenditures that the mayor has recommended, send it back to the mayor, and the mayor can either approve it or he can veto it if he does not like a particular item that they either cut or increased. So it's an interesting process. And what happens is in May, the end of April into May, the budget hearings are actually carried live, and you get an opportunity to see department heads come before the city council, and they go through this whole process of determining how much money each department has to spend to deliver services to you, the residents here in the city of Hartford. So again, it's an interesting time for you to participate in the process of how you see your council members expending your tax dollars, and that's really where it becomes critical. If you have an opinion about how DPW collects trash or how many officers we have on our city streets, all of this is decided around budget time, and that is kicking off now. So it's a two-part workshop. Workshop 1 is happening Thursday. Workshop 2 is going to happen later in March. And, I don't know if the mayor actually listens to your opinions and ideas. That's for you to determine whether or not your voice is actually being heard or your ideas are actually being implemented. But I'm just giving you the information and putting it out there. So in addition to all that excitement happening in the city, we have the Democratic Town Committee election fast approaching. I don't have the exact date of the election. I believe it's in March. But what I wanted to do is just tell you how the Democratic Town Committee works. And, you may have had some people come knocking on your door to get your signature in the past couple of weeks. That person is running currently for a position on the town committee, the Democratic Town Committee. So the way this works in a 30-second nutshell, right? So if you think of this as a pyramid, you are the foundation, right? We, the people, we elect our local officials, our state reps, our senators, and then a president and all as you have it. Well, you at that first rung as the foundation, the second tier up is actually your Democratic Town Committee members. They hold a very, very critical role in how our local elected officials get on the ballot. So, when they come knocking on your door, some of the things that you may want to find out from them before you endorse one of your town committee members is actually what they think about responsible leadership here in the city, because they are the ones who are going to endorse your city council members. They will endorse your mayor. They will endorse your state reps and your state senators. So they have a tremendous amount of influence over the way our city and state government is governed. So town committee is the most important race to watch here in the city of Hartford. Civic Beat hopes to carry a lot of this stuff as it happens. We want to go out and go in the trenches down in City Hall and really bring to you the blow by blow when how all of this shapes out, because it is the election to watch. These people carry so much influence because the way city government works in Hartford, whoever gets endorsed, particularly on the Democratic line, which is usually, that first line A, they get elected. It's just the way things work in Hartford. Whoever's on line A, and that includes well, I'm not going to be facetious. Anyone who gets on that top row and is endorsed by Democrats, for all intents and purposes, they get elected. You have to work really hard to overcome being on that top row. So they carry tremendous amount of power. They influence a lot of things in the city. It is something to watch, something to pay attention to. That election is coming up. In the coming weeks, I will bring you information about how you can participate. You don't have to be a Democratic Town Committee member to participate, but you do have to be a registered Democrat. So it's extremely important that this is something you kind of tune into. So with that said, I thank you for joining me on Civic Beat. Nyesha McCauley. We will be back next week to bring more information to you. I hope this episode has been helpful. Please welcome your feedback, comment, questions, suggestions on future topics that you want me to talk about and highlight. All happening here in the city of Hartford. Till next time, thank you.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all, the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.